having to go.
So just say
Okay.
now.
I'll call the Parks meeting to order of Tuesday, December 13th. Second, approval of the agenda,
I'll
So
second
moved.
it.
Second,
moved by James Podger, seconded by Karen Powers. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Item number 3, approval of November 29th, 2022 minutes.
Oh,
Moved
second.
by Steve Binder, seconded by James Podger. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
See, this is the 4th item.
Public comment, but
Okay.
let me just double check Zoom.
Public comment, anyone? I don't know, on Zoom, just in case. Ethan, you've done, because you're the public guy. Okay. 5, discussion, decision, changes to park and recreation ordinance 19.18 fireworks and rockets. I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect. And I apologize that you guys didn't get this, get any materials ahead of time, other than what you have now in front of you. It was just due to a timing situation and needing to get this set up, and we were still actually working on some of the changes yesterday morning. It is a pretty straightforward request and change, but I want to go through it a little bit slower and a little bit more detail, just because you didn't have it ahead of time. So basically, as of right now, I have the ordinance up there as well. The underlined portion at the bottom here, and I'm gonna just highlight it. So this underlined portion is the portion that we're asking to edit in chapter 19.18. So basically, as 19.18 currently reads, it says no person shall carry, fire, or discharge any torpedo, rocket, or other fireworks within any park, county grounds, or recreation trails. Period. So basically, as of right now, if county fair shoots off fireworks, which occasionally they do, like Life Fest, which occasionally they do, Air Venture, because it does say county property, or county grounds. So those types of events, any basically a current event that lights off fireworks, which there have been plenty over the last 10, 20 years, technically by code are not allowed. So we wanted to get this changed as soon as possible, because obviously we have a lot of events that either utilize fireworks or potential events down the road that utilize fireworks. So we want to make sure that there is a avenue in which fireworks can be allowed on county property. So as we are proposing to add, so no person shall carry fireworks, or basically no person shall carry any of the following on county grounds, recreation trails, with the exception of model rocket engines. So we want to make sure that Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts can still come out and shoot off model rocket engines. Fireworks may be used when the person or organization does the following 4 items. Complies with Wisconsin statute 167.10, regulation of fireworks. So basically, Wisconsin statute 167.10 is exactly what it is, the regulation of fireworks and how they can be used in the state of Wisconsin. So they
okay,
have.
I'm missing these 4 points. Am I looking at the right page?
If you look right down here,
It's underlined. Yep, the underlined stuff, right where your thumb was.
That's what
Yeah,
they want to add.
line 25.
Yeah.
We're at line 25.
You're right there.
Yeah, but where's it, it's with you said with the exception of these 4, whatever. Oh, you mean, you're not reading, that's not, those words aren't in here.
I
You're not-
apologize.
okay.
I was
Yeah,
explaining the exception of these 4. Yeah.
Right
yeah.
here.
And then now
1, 2,
these
3,
4
4. That's
bolded.
right here.
He said,
Yeah,
he said.
sorry.
With the exception of these 4,
I
I said, where is that?
added some words.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I got it now.
So following Wisconsin law, essentially. Item 2, obtaining a required permit from the town, village, or city in which the county property is located, and submits written proof of the permit to the department which supervises the county grounds related to the permit. So bottom line, if the permit is in the city of Oshkosh, or if the property is in the city of Oshkosh, they need to get a permit from city of Oshkosh. That's what actually Wisconsin statute says too. You need to get a permit from your local
Who do you go
municipality.
to for that kind of thing?
So for instance, city of Oshkosh, they have a special event, more than likely it's gonna be under their special event permit
Event, okay.
umbrella. A town of Oshkosh, you just go and you apply, you basically apply for your fireworks permit. You explain what your, I don't know what their process.
Yeah, like
as
your
much.
city hall or town hall.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
To the plan and zoning.
I'm not doing that, I just wondered.
Approve of it.
Planning, as what we're currently proposing, planning and zoning would not have to approve of it. Number 3 provides, they provide a certificate of insurance for limits set by the county after consultation with the county's insurance carrier to cover activity permitted by the local jurisdiction. So basically, okay, they're following state law, they got their permit, they've submitted their permit. Now we also need a certificate of insurance based off of what staff and the insurance carrier believe are the right limits. And then 4, receives written approval from the appropriate department head and county executive. So basically, that they can't just get a permit from the city of Oshkosh and, okay, now I'm good, I can light off fireworks when we, the county don't want them to light off fireworks for whatever
Right.
reason.
Right.
So basically, those would be the 4 ways or items in which you would need to follow in order to be able to have a firework display.
And so right now, the only ones currently doing that are Boy Scouts. And,
No, I know like the county fair has lit off fireworks
oh,
before,
yeah.
Life
okay.
Fest, Country USA, back
How
to
they- how
Country
they been
USA.
getting, why, how have they been getting away with that all this time without this?
I don't know.
Change. Oh, okay.
That's a great question. That's why we need to clean it up. That's why we were like, we need to get this on the December agenda to clean this
I
up.
have a maybe question, maybe this. What the city agrees it, but the town doesn't, can the other one claim that they broke the other one's noise ordinance?
Noise ordinance would be separate if you have a fireworks permit,
Okay.
because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you have a fireworks permit in the city of Oshkosh and they're next to the town of Oshkosh. The town of Oshkosh, or I mean, let's just even say Neenah,
Mhm.
Fox Crossing. If it's in Neenah, it doesn't matter if Fox Crossing doesn't want the fireworks if Neenah approved a permit for them.
Well, I thought, sure, okay.
Yep,
I guess and vice versa. If Fox Crossing wants it, Nina doesn't. It's still, if that,
correct.
that,
Gotta be in the
It's
place where they're being lit off.
yeah.
That's really the bottom line in terms of the rule.
How did they get insurance? Did they get insurance before?
Mhm.
They
Yeah,
did
oh,
get
yeah,
insurance,
absolutely.
so it's
Yeah.
nothing new for anybody.
Yeah, the county definitely wouldn't want fireworks without a proof of insurance. and-
Yeah.
I think what they did before, the city always required the permits, we didn't.
Right.
So when they took out a special event permit from the city of Oshkosh,
Right.
they required them to meet these. These
Yep.
goals, we didn't, we basically said fireworks were illegal, we never enforced it.
Right.
So basically, all we're doing is cleaning up the language so that when they take out a special event. Permit, because the expo center is in the city of Oshkosh.
Yep.
Which if the city of Oshkosh said there was no fireworks. There's no fireworks, we
Correct.
can't overrule them.
Right.
Well, we're just cleaning up our language so that basically when they do give them authority to have a fireworks display. They meet our guidelines. Right
And
now,
it's
they're doing it without our permission.
And it's the same guidelines we've done without it being written. We've obviously made sure they have insurance. We obviously work through a contract with whatever promoter is gonna be there. Or airport with things like AirVenture and that type of thing.
I think with PMI though, the problem was their insurance wasn't what we thought we needed. And that's why we ran into that problem where the deal fell apart. Because they normally only had like $1 million and we were requiring them to have $2 or $3 million. And they didn't want to pay that, so then that deal fell apart, which now you must be working on it again.
Yeah, yep, there's a few intricacies to that, and we'll definitely provide that update here too.
I told Adam, the only instance I remember is Country USA, when I got in this committee, and we had a member, Steve Arney, you remember, because he lives very close here. He used to get very upset every year because Country USA was allowed to, fireworks, and I don't remember what Rob Way told him back then, but he told him something then, to allow him,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, what's really important is Supervisor Minder's point. We talked to some folks at the fair, we talked to some people, so this is exactly what they normally do. So they get insurance to shoot off fireworks. We require a certificate of insurance on every contract we sign in the county, not just parks contract. And the only thing that is different from state law is the approval of the department head and county executive. That's the only thing that's different from current practice, and from state law. And 16710, we would pull it up, actually says that they can't shoot fireworks without the local control of the municipality. And so nothing in here infringes on that. If the city of Oshkosh says do it, they get issued a permit under that statute. We say, okay, now you comply with these other things. And if they do, the county executive department head will consider that application. So again, it's exactly what FAIR does now.
So all this resolution, all this change is doing is expanding. expanding who may set off fireworks. I mean, apparently, right now, we know that the County Fair Life Fest, the Boy Scouts with their model rockets, they're currently doing it. What we're doing is expanding to make sure that people understand, if you want to be doing this as well, these are the guidelines you have to follow. This is what you have to know.
No, because at this present time, technically, if County Fair said we're to light off fireworks and the city gave them a permit, the county's code says you can't do that on county property.
Okay, that's what we're cleaning
So
up.
as of right now, technically, the sheriff could have enforced, fireworks being shut off on county property.
Where is John Monson? in the game?
And then the model rocket language actually comes from, when we met with Corp Council, Adam and I, you can see in the language that's already there, is you see torpedo, rocket, or other fireworks. Model rockets, which you've all probably seen, are the little CO2 things that go up and they have a little parachute and the Boy Scout goes and finds them and they have these derbies.
Okay,
Under state statute, that is not a firework,
okay.
but under torpedo, rocket, or other firework,
I don't need what that is.
that's correct. We consider that would be a rocket. So we added, with the exception of model rocket engines, because we didn't want to get into torpedo rocket, we decided to leave that language and just add the exemption for,
The torpedoes, not ones that go up and have little parachutes and come back down. That's not what a torpedo is.
we don't know what a torpedo is, but we didn't want,
Oh, good. I'm not the only one. that
yeah,
knows.
we didn't know what a torpedo meant and we didn't know what a rocket meant. But rather than repealing it and just saying fireworks, we just said, okay, let's exempt what probably already happens, which is Boy Scouts and kids shooting off the model fireworks
Okay,
or model rockets. And under state law, that is not considered a firework, so
Okay.
we just adopted that language.
okay. Well, I've been saying Boy Scouts, but I realized that it could be there could be Boy.
Yeah, it could be 4-H,
There could be 4-H, there'd be
Yeah.
all kinds of groups
Yeah,
possibly doing that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so the model rocket was important because the word rocket appears, that's the only reason that
Okay.
exemption's there.
Because that's way different from the other things we're talking about.
We assume
Very
rockets,
small,
yeah.
very small engine,
yeah,
Okay,
doesn't
Yeah.
blow up.
okay.
Goes
I
up
think
1,000
fireworks
feet.
at one time meant it had to have a rapport.
yeah, there's a whole definition, there's certain
Yeah, right, right.
pyrotechnics that's not in there,
Yeah,
We
like,
didn't
We're
want to
just
get into-
legitimizing it is what we're doing here,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
we're cleaning up code, it was at least our proposal.
Okay,
Then, Adam,
Yep, that's it from us.
so, this is the tricky part here. Now. The reason my name is on this, because we are meeting, and a couple of you said, we're meeting at Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
mhm.
The agenda has all gone out, I think, maybe earlier
Earlier
today,
today.
and, if we had Monday. Would have been, had Monday before noon, we could have done all of us. So my name's on it, but I think, I'm gonna entertain a motion to approve of it, and when this comes up, I will say the Parks Committee passed it, whatever, and that's what we're doing. If wondering why we're doing what we're doing.
Wait, are you asking if others of us want to be included as the respectfully submitted? Or are you keeping it just your name? I don't know what you're saying there.
Just his name because he had to have.
You have to have at least one name
Yeah.
to give it to the Corporation Council,
Oh, we have other things that go through with just one name.
right.
Yeah,
and I'm just explaining that's why we're still doing it. because
Okay,
it'd be
but if you
fun
want-
for new one, right?
if you want other names, if that's legal, what Corp Council would say, if you want other names added to that.
To tell you the truth, it doesn't really care to me, it's up to Mary Ann Miller, I mean. I don't want,
I don't want to cross her.
well, I don't want the county clerk to make a special amendment resolution to we have.
Okay,
But that's why I'm trying to mitigate.
we're happy with your name on there.
Well,
Yeah, I think our intention was to add the committee vote and then pass out paper copies on the floor of the board.
We were gonna do.
Yeah, I think that was our
Yeah.
intent, and then maybe email the board. So our intention was, if you approve this, to change this, we won't mail it, I don't think their plan was to mail it out. But we were planning to put paper copies on everybody's desk to signify that this meeting happened.
So, having said that,
I'll make a motion to, move item number 5.
I'll second that.
moved by Steve Bender, seconded by Karen Powers, any other discussions? All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Next item, discussion of changes to Parks and Recreation Ordinance 19.23 camping overnight mooring.
And I apologize, this is being more verbal because we were up to the final hour on getting this right and making sure we had the right verbiage here, so I just want to also, we're gonna be looking at the camping section, so a few years ago, the previous assistant director, Lauren Deeks, some of you may remember him. Yeah, okay. He wanted to try to do camping across the street, and I know they added verbiage for overnight camping, so that way, actually, there's still a board over there that, and obviously there's code that says basically you can go and you can overnight camp at Sunnyview Expo grounds. It really has never taken off, and with some of, with the potential of future events and the, like one of the things we've been looking at is with Air Venture is selling campsites. The county selling campsites, so that way when people come to Air Venture, let's use our lot for that week. Because that week is traditionally the week of county fair, and they're just doing setup. So we talked to them last year, they've let us basically use one or two of the lots to offer camping, electrical camping, so to get more use out of our lot. So Justin's been working on that, and basically we want to be able to set like right now, the fee is only $15, and for electric lot, that's a little low. So we went to update some of the pricing, want to update some of the policies, so that way we can rent camping. The county can essentially rent out camping over there. And we'll probably clean up some of the comments, because we don't really have staff for someone to just come there and camp overnight. And if it hasn't really been working since they started it about 10 years ago, well, we're to look into that as well. But in order to better facilitate events and to be able to utilize the space that we just spent for that phase one with the parking lot, we want to make sure that we can rent camping out there. So I was gonna maybe have more, we already maybe even try to get it for a decision tonight, but obviously we needed to make sure we did right with the fireworks first. And so that will be coming in the future. So I just want to, because it's related when it comes to events and changing ordinance. And I know we're going through an ordinance update, but that's gonna be more semantic, like cleaning things up versus big changes. And this is a bigger change, obviously, changing code. So
not necessarily the December 27th meeting, but
probably January at this point. We might be able to get in for December if we need to move quicker, because we still have about a week to get some of that in, but yeah, probably otherwise January.
Does Life Bus bring in portable showers, or what do they use for showers?
Portable showers, no, they use our shower building. And then like some of the artists will have their own camper, their own RV. So it's mostly just our shower, actually.
What does EAA charge for?
Oh, and I should actually buy Flyers Field, the far north field, they do bring in some trailers with showers now that, yes, they do.
What does EAA charge for camping with electric?
I'm not sure what EAA charges. We started looking though at other campsites around the area. We're looking at probably for 30 amp, $30 per camper, and 50 amp, 35 per night.
Per night?
That's kind of where we're at right now with some of our market research.
What is the cost to us, like to run an air conditioner for the 24 hours?
And that's some of we have that breakdown now that we did the utility study. So now that we have that, we can take a look at that. And that's just some of the stuff we haven't had time to really dig into. Yeah, we can look to see now that lot 3 has also been running since Life Fest. We can see how much lot 3 costs divided by the number of electrical pedestals around it and get a better estimate of how much per site electric cost. Yep.
Because it's nice to provide a service, but you don't want to provide a service and lose money.
Right.
You know,
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
because you're gonna be putting the lights on in the parking lot, you're
Yeah.
gonna be running that.
And the lights are LED, so that obviously
That is cheaper,
definitely
but-
saves us. And we, as you can see, they're off right now, otherwise we'd be able to see it. So we do try to only turn them on when needed.
Yep.
But yeah, exactly. We want to make sure that we're covering our cost. Yep.
Right, yeah, 'cause by
Absolutely.
the time you add the added staff, and I think it's great to provide the camping.
Yep.
But it's gotta be a break even.
Yep. And Justin, in full transparent at this point, now granted, we'd have a little bit more summer staff, hopefully, in the summer, but it was really me, Justin, and Rick that would be running their adventure. So, yeah, staff that we were at this point to try it out. So. That's what I have, at least for discussion and to go overview.
anything else from anyone else about that? Okay. 7, update county executive and parks director on potential international pyrotechnics guild conference.
Yeah, well, so Adam and I have been spending a lot of time on this. And you may have heard that they got a permit from the city. And I'm just trying to think where to start. So as you know, there was negotiations in 2019 or 2020. And as Supervisor Binder been up, it came down to several things, one of which was the insurance and some other provisions. And the week of AirVenture, somebody received a call. That they were interested in coming back for 2023 because they didn't have a site planned yet for 2023, and they were hoping to have it announced at their convention in August, which was in Iowa. And so we said, no, we don't have time to negotiate a contract in 2.5 weeks. And we were too far apart last time. No. Sometime in October, they came back to us and said, we want to book this week. If it's still available, would you be considering the negotiations? And we went to the Oshkosh Convention and Visitors Bureau because they're essential to this, because they potentially would be providing some financial resources and some staff resources. And we said, what do you think? Should we negotiate? And by at that time, we were going to follow our policy of just charge them. And we do for any other event, no special deals. And they said, okay, yeah, if you guys can make it work, we'd be interested. So Adam and I spent then the better part of November trying to track them down. And we basically said, we will come to the table. We had a meeting in this room with them on site. We will come to the table if you get the Oshkosh permit. So if Oshkosh City Council says, no, there's no use in the county spending resources trying to negotiate a deal that's impossible. They got that November 14th.
22nd, actually, it was the week.
Oh,
of
22nd?
Thanksgiving. Yep.
Okay, so the week of Thanksgiving, they got that from council. And so we basically had another meeting with them and said, here's the deal. We have to follow county code. That's charging you a rental fee. We have some flexibility in what that rental fee exists. So we need to know exactly what you want to rent. We gave them a price, and we basically sent them a very standard agreement. And at this point, because of the work you're doing on fireworks, we think that we're in a good position to beat Wisconsin. What's WIR stand for? WIR, whatever the racetrack, South Dakota. So we think we're in a good position in the next few days to have an answer from them on that. But I know there was questions on, what kind of approvals does the county board need to do, things like that. The county itself is looking to not expend money. We're not looking to kind of change the model of Sunnyview. That is, we're looking to get the rental fee upfront, deposits, all of that taken care of. There'll be some special circumstances that have to happen as needs to happen for a big, large event. But those are kind of what we're working on. And so what I can report is I talked to them. Adam was in a meeting, I think, with you. So I talked to them an hour ago and I have a text message from them. We think we reasonably we're in a good position to move forward, and we'll continue to work on the contract we gave them. Adam can kind of get into the details of what is in that agreement that we gave them and kind of where we're stuck.
Yeah, yep. And so I mean, some of the basics of the agreement right now is it's a little different event, and it's kind of a two separate events is kind of the best way to look at it. You have the conference that comes in, which is PGI coming in, their members come in. Yeah, think of conferences you guys go to the county association, that type of thing. Someone teaches you how to build fireworks, someone teaches you how to do this with fireworks. And then at night, that's why they needed the permit for 7 nights. They light off fireworks at night to test stuff they've built or test new product or whatever it may be. And then there's the second component of it, which is the public component. So this is the part where, and they always like doing the public component because obviously, you're lighting off fireworks all week. Let's let the public come enjoy them too. Now, these are fireworks, don't think of like your local fireworks, 4th of July. I mean, these are fireworks. They know, in the sense of top of line fireworks, music to the fireworks. If Rick was here, he was actually out at one in Wyoming a few years ago because there's a potential PGI coming in. So they're really impressive firework displays. Ones that, like, for instance, the Speedway, when it was on 2012 or 10, they charged admission for people to come in. So the idea is that there's a public event night, which that's where we definitely need the CBB and the county staff essentially to, like the Parks Department, to essentially host the public night. That's selling tickets. that's parking cars, and that's concessions, anything like that, coordinating all of that. So, that's where we have to work with that in terms of, so it's different model than the Parks Department's used to. Usually it's, you come in, you have the buildings, you do what you want, and okay, hopefully you have a good time and whatever we can do while you're here. Whereas we would be lending a little bit more support to it in order for this event to happen. And then the funds from that, the portion of that would come to the county and come back, or even to the CBB a little bit to a certain extent to help cover their costs for marketing. So
Are you going to be compensated for the time and effort that you and your staff have put into it? I mean, Steve remembers, he was on the committee with me, and I remember we all agreed to it, and then Rob Way says, well, we're gonna have to provide the staff to sell tickets, we're gonna have to provide the staff to sell refreshments, if you remember, and I guess that's when the big shining, great ideal dimmed a little bit, and I guess, are this county and your staff gonna be compensated for the time and effort you have to put into it? Because if we do it for this event, we may have to do it for other events, and that's my question.
yeah, and that's where the contract revenue model and the revenue sharing comes into play, because obviously the county would want, a portion of the sales from the public nights. So, and that's where we need partnerships like the CVB. That's where we need creative partnerships like potentially volunteer groups to help fundraise for and then not saying we've had conversations with any of them, but like Legion, those types of groups where potentially they could obviously take a little bit home as well by helping and assisting. As an example, we have we do have a Mexican concert over at the expo, and they sold beer, and the only way to do that is with a nonprofit. And so actually the organizer worked with them. I think it was actually related to 4-H, I believe, in the Fair Association. So they received some of those funds and they staffed it, and
They have the liquor license, so
Yep,
basically
exactly.
they have to provide the bartenders.
Yep.
So that,
it's those types of partnerships that will make, I can't speak for Rob and previous staff and what types of creative avenues. Obviously Ethan and I are new, John is new.
I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying.
No,
that-
no, no,
I-
that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying at the time, Steve, I remember park tour and, we have to do this and that, so really. And Rob, I told you time again, and Steve knows he's on the committee, Rob didn't want to do programming, be any part of that, and we were doing this. I'm willing to accept it, I'm just saying that as long as you are getting compensated, and we may be open to do it to other events, and not every event, but other events.
Yeah, and we gotta be careful, exactly. But to Ethan's point, that's why we need the rental fee. Because a rental fee does cover a lot of that staff time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the rental fee is like $35,000.
Yeah, it's in that range. Yeah,
So,
yeah, long time I had it's right around there.
And
Can I-
then if you.
Plus utilities, because you just passed that
Yeah.
resolution that charges utilities, yep.
Yeah.
And then you get a percentage of the revenue, I mean, you can get food trucks to come in, you
Yes.
can get nonprofits to help,
You're thinking
The
exactly.
fair doesn't want to charge for parking, Life Fest charges for parking, I mean, there's a big. You can have VIP parking, take up the front rows and charge $20 and the back rows $5,
Yep.
We need revenue in the park system.
Yep.
I mean, we have shelters that are falling down and, we can't go to the taxpayers all the time, so if this is a way to get some revenue. I mean, we got a house that needs to be tore down, a barn that needs to be tore down, and we got no money. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm all for it, if we can raise some funds, and what better event for the community than give them a couple day fireworks show that's somewhat reasonably priced.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, more, I mean, I'll wait, I have some, I'll wait till if you have more.
I think that sums it up. for me.
I think to directly answer your question, yes, the county executive gave Adam and I. Mike Collard to a lesser extent has been involved. But John said two things. One, the county cannot risk money. We're not going to the board to ask for $100,000 to risk. Not a non-starter. Come up with a model that doesn't risk county money. And then the other thing, which is more of an Adam thing, is John wants to prove that can we do this type of event or not? Because if we can't pull this type of event off, that dictates kind of where we go with the future of Sunnyview. And so the short answer is yes, we plan to, I mean, we've told PGI some of my time, some of my colleagues' time, our council's time, we intend to recoup not just parks time, but people who don't normally work on these deals.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question I have, maybe when I ask one. When does PGI make the decision? Because I understand that the town of Buchanan was still,
Hopefully within the next couple of days, is
Yeah.
what Ethan was talking about, hopefully soon.
and would you think PGI, this is like every other year or something, is it every?
No, it sounds
40
like maybe every 3 or 4 years.
4-year cycle is what he told me
Okay.
today.
Okay,
So,
more updated than that.
and obviously if you get it once, it'd be the best to get another time.
Correct.
We on, as long as we put on a good show.
Right,
Yep,
okay.
absolutely.
All right, that's. So, my last. The county board, yeah, that's proven, does the city have to do anything more of this?
The city has approved the special event permit and they have, and there's some minor things in the sense that we have to finalize how many public nights. I think they estimated 3,
I
it's
think-
probably 2, you know, those types of things. But yeah, no, the city permit from that standpoint is
Okay,
pretty much approved.
my question I'm asking, I'm talking on the phone, it's a good thing Steve lives close by because we don't want. Area residents, saying, oh, we don't want this event, too crowded, too noisy, blah, 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 blah. That's one concern. Another concern is one of the council members brought up about the Humane Society thing, and I know what you said, hopefully that can be addressed.
Yep, and they're a
Right.
couple miles away too. They're
But-
about 2
but
or
I
3
don't-
miles away.
I don't want a bunch of citizens going to the city council has to approve them, or us, for that
Mhm.
matter, county board saying, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We have done this, we're not going, to we don't want this, and then everyone gets scared and
Sure.
we don't do it. So that's why I'm asking that question.
Well, I mean, I know last time and right now we're just working through contract stuff still, but I know last time I saw evidence of letters out to the YMCA. Neighbor property owners from PGI, as good neighbors say, to ask for permission to clean up on their properties. Obviously, the county, you know, Sunnyview isn't a nice area. Yes, there are some residential areas. Maybe the supervisor Bender can speak maybe to the more of those areas, because he has Life Fest and County Fair and Hmong Festival and a lot of events actually in his backyard. You know, so obviously there will be outreach to make sure that they clean up after themselves, all fireworks debris, and to make sure that they're, you know, just like any larger event, Life Fest is the same thing. They reach out to neighbors, because you know, Life Fest goes till about midnight with music too. So they're all a little bit later as well.
Mike, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Let's say it all does go through and everything goes great. Are you gonna need anything on our end? Like, or I guess, are you guys just gonna hash it out, find all those groups? And to help you out, or are you gonna need other help than just you guys? Like, 'cause it sounds like you got a good group with Oshkosh.
Like volunteer, what? Like, are we gonna need you, like county
Well-
board members to potentially
well, I mean,
volunteer? Or are you asking, are we gonna need other approvals?
No, volunteers, I guess. Like, are you guys gonna need help or anybody
Yeah.
to work with you? And,
We will.
okay,
Yes,
okay. That's
We
fine.
have a lot of resources, but we'll need help.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
We would have to approve the contract, right, Ethan?
no,
because there'll be a lot
It's a
of, there's gonna be a lot of
one-year
work.
were
to
you,
do.
correct, I will get to you and.
Yep,
I can answer.
for sure.
No, because we were adamant, we were gonna follow the county code on the permit fees that the county board has already authorized. So the county board has already authorized these types of contracts to go through. And I mean, you're gonna get the camping ordinance. We need to go through the camping ordinance, but for example, well, you just did the fireworks one, clearly we needed to do that. The camping ones, for example, though, it says in the ordinance, they have to pay with cash or check. So we have software that allow them to pay with credit card, which allows to take a deposit without actually exchanging cash. And so some of those technical things you will approve. County code things that we need changed. If we determine that we need a budget transfer, which I don't think we knew, again, that was our goal, is no budget, no county money outside of his normal operating that you've already approved. If that were to happen, you would approve it. But no, we don't anticipate the need of the committee or county board approval on the specific event, because we are following that. 3 or 4 years ago, they wanted a different deal. Had we gone down that path, 100%, we would have come to you and asked for a special waiving the fees, those types of things. We're not asking for that at this point. And we're not waiving the 25%. We're not either the two deposits or the first deposit or the supplemental, not being waived. We're actually charging them full price. We didn't, even though we can negotiate for grounds, we didn't Sure, Jack. You just passed the utility fee, we added that in the total, so, that's what we're using. To answer your question, did that answer your question, Supervisor?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
To answer your question, yes, we are going to need significant amount of help and we're in the process of analyzing. What are we gonna need as far as volunteers, as other groups, we're gonna need caterers, we're gonna need things like that, potentially redeploying staff from other departments. But we've kind of said to PGI, you need to make a decision before we invest more time kind of contemplating some of those things, because until they come to the table with the deposit and either a signed contract or something substantially close to an MOU saying they're coming here, we'd be in a,
Then you get the ball rolling.
yeah, right.
You need like a.
We don't want to spin the wheels, yeah,
Okay,
November would,
I could see it and hear it, so.
yeah,
Okay.
but yes, if you want to bartend till 1 AM, we.
I will do what I need to do for the county guys.
And I would think we kind of got them over the barrel. They already got a special events permit, so the event's gonna happen in Oshkosh. So where else is it gonna happen but by us?
WIR.
Town of Buchanan, that's why I hate to, I keep reading the town of Buchanan, you probably know more than I do about it, but there is a player, that's what our gaming, town of Buchanan.
Yeah.
They say-
Again.
I don't know what they have up there, they could try to steal, sweeten the pot, I don't know, that's what I'm,
Well, that's the old race, but that's a Tacoma, so they have to get a different special events.
Yeah, the town of Buchanan approved part of their request.
Till midnight.
My understanding is they did not do the time. Basically, the biggest difference that that Adam and I understand that between WIR, there's two differences. Sunnyview has less capacity for public nights. Obviously, WIR has stands, they like racetracks.
Yeah.
But we also have more capacity for their actual convention. So they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on tents and infrastructure to build rooms for them to have their convention. And so right now, PGI, our understanding of PGI is they're trying to figure out where do they lose the least amount of money if they're gonna lose money. $400,000 production costs of WIR, $200,000, these are rough numbers. Take them, leave them within a few thousand here. So we think we're better positioned because we can host them better camping, better facilities for the convention at a cheaper cost for that night. We are at a disadvantage when it comes to the public nights, but we are an advantage where Fox City's CVB is not really helping to bring them in. Oshkosh has been with us every step of the way to get that done, but we're not providing incentives for them to come. I mean, it's a standard contract. The only incentive is what the CVB does. They get involved and they provide the incentive. There's another event potentially this spring, I think, that they're getting a grant for, and it's called Meetings Mean Business. So we bring conventions in, means business for the local community. That's their job, that's their role, not our role to do subsidies like that.
Karen,
And, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And you mentioned something about parking and fees for parking and so on. The parking lot belongs to us, but you're saying that you would rent, as long as you're renting out the facility, you're also renting out the parking so that they can earn money on the parking, or we get the parking?
We would charge,
We
we
would.
would man and charge the parking. In fact,
Okay.
actually, they need us, they want us to do it. PGI wants us to do the camping, they want us to do the parking, they want us to do the ticket sales. They
Okay,
don't wanna do it.
okay.
How many people are you talking about?
So from what we've been told at WIR is that they
Oh,
have,
that's why.
they have attendance of about 13,000. For public nights, on the Friday night, on a busy night.
That's
The
outsiders.
convention
or that's
itself, the convention itself is 2,000 to 3,000. People that come to the convention all week, 7 days,
I don't know how they could do it every day of the week up there.
a lot of times,
And what?
Yeah.
What
I mean,
month
yeah.
do what month did they come in?
August.
Okay,
Yeah, I think they said when they were here at WIR last time, they got rained on. Didn't they say he got like
Yeah.
4 or 5 of the nights got rained?
Mhm.
So I mean, that's, that's part of their risk is, and if you're in tents. Granted, they're event tents, but just kind of miserable. So they really do think our facility is. They've been, according to their guy who used to produce it, so they have somebody who produces it now, their vice president, and then the other guy who used to do it, who produced both Wisconsin events in 10 and 13 or whenever they were here. he's been banging the drum on Sunnyview for, he said, I think 10 or 15 years since they've been doing it. So they're really interested. And, you know, we're proud that we were able to take the policy that you passed, the rental fee, and make it fit into their model. So, but
I think it's a good fit. We just stuck all the new campsites in and they all got electric. I mean, I don't know what facility like WR, it's a nice racing facility. They got a drag track, you know, and they have a oval track. But they don't have a camping facility like we have. They don't have an expo building like we have,
Mhm.
you know, so, and if you're talking 400,000 versus 200,000, I know where I'd put my money. You know, I'm getting basically half the expense, so I really took half my risk. I only gotta make $200,000 break even.
Well, you know, and I've been here a year and a half and, you know, like the board told me when I came in, the county exec told me when I met him for the first time. You know, we need to get more events out at Sunnyview. We need to try different things. You know, Supervisor Norton, I know you've mentioned the same types of things with programming and that type of thing. This is different for us. It is more, I mean, it's in our wheelhouse, but it is still unique. And it's gonna step us outside of our comfort zone. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I don't either. I think that it's all in our,
And like Ethan said, we try.
yeah, it's all in our wheelhouse. We can basically park cars, we
Yeah.
can vend food and,
Figure it out.
you know, it's not rocket science in doing it. It's been done, you know, many, many times and basically John basically helps with Waterfest. They have the same thing there. They sell food.
And we do it for every other event, right? We see every other event come into our space. We know they use it. Now it's our turn to use it that way.
Right.
So, yeah.
yeah, in my conversation with their representative today, he said, look, you know, Sunnyview, you don't do this. This isn't something you do, but we have confidence that you have a smart enough team to figure it out. Because one of the things we mentioned is, guys, we run this city hosts the largest convention in the state of Wisconsin every year. Yeah, the city knows what it's doing. We have an arena of ticket takers, even though the county doesn't have ticket takers. We have security firm and we have temporary staff that run an arena. We're talking 2 weeks after EAA Air Venture. I mean, some of those security guys we could probably work on. I mean, so there's infrastructure within the city of Oshkosh that we plan to tap on, and that's not county employees.
Anything else? Karen?
I had one thing, but since Ethan said, so are you pretty sure that we could get the ticket takers and the security people, all people who already just worked on EAA, we could draw them back in for another
Mhm.
volunteer situation? It's volunteer, right?
Well,
Ticket takers and,
yeah, we'd figure it out. I mean, once we land PGI officially,
you know,
I think our intent is to start at the arena, to figure out what they have temporary staff to do. And then our next step would be to say, okay, AirVenture, Fair, what temporary help do you have? To help and do that, but we have not gone down the path of officially solidifying,
okay,
here's who it's gonna
but
be.
you're pretty confident.
Yeah,
Okay, but my original question was gonna be, if we were to host something like this, would it put us on the map to draw other events to some?
So,
Any of these events.
I mean, is this kind of a niche kind of thing? I don't know anybody who does pyrotechnics. But is this such a niche thing that we wouldn't be noticed, or is it likely that this is bigger than I realize and we would be noticed? As a
Well,
place to hold events?
Adam can answer, but this my quick answer would be, if we can handle a big event, we already have Life Fest there, we're having this pyrotechnical convention. If not a pyrotechnical convention, something like that, and maybe not every weekend, but maybe once a month, maybe that's too far fetched, but. I think if you show you can do 2 pretty big events, I think Life Fest is not a big event, that, yeah, come maybe other type of organizations. Not off, I call them not off the wall. I call them off the wall because, you know, I don't think we're gonna get a big concert there, but conventions like this may come here.
I guess one of the things is that you talk this, two biggest draws, problems, events that we have that bring in human trafficking is EAA and Life Fest. Are we likely to run into? Yeah. Can we talk to the sheriff about this kind of thing? Or Deputy Mike?
well, we can have a conversation with the sheriff about that.
Okay,
I'm just gonna say, Steve, I think we're in a better position now than we were the first time we tried this, I think.
Oh, I think we are too, because now they're willing to bargain because they need a place by.
I think last time,
No,
I think the last time we were, I'm gonna say this, yeah, I think we were kind of desperate to have an event there. In some ways, and that's why I said, well, we gotta do all this, really? And that's why I reacted when we said that, so I think the county is in a much better, strong position now than they are 3 years ago. One reason was insurance, another reason they didn't want us, because how we have legal set up, and I remember that, but I'm glad things are working out.
oh,
Much more
I think
stronger.
it's something we need to do, and as far as that stage. When we actually own the stage, I think we'll be able to use the stage. Right now, we have to pay Life Fest $10,000 to use that stage every time they use it. Nobody's gonna pay $20,000 to use that stage. You know, I mean, it's too big a gamble, but when the 10-year contract is over and you can let somebody use the stage for free with $35,000 for the grounds, they just saved $20,000. But we got like 6 more years left on that contract, so I don't believe that nothing's gonna happen there until the contract runs out. Because right now, if you put an act on that stage, Life Fest gets $10,000, and that's just starting cost. We're supposed to get 10,000 too. So $20,000 use the stage plus $35,000 use the grounds. You got $55,000 and you got no entertainment. So it's like,
If we agree to this, are we committing to doing this year after year, or is this a one shot? We see how it goes and decide later whether or we, once we do this, we say, okay, they're gonna be coming every year.
Every 4 years.
So
Oh, it's every 4 years?
Yeah,
they don't come.
1-year contracts can just be entered into by the county executive and staff. Multi-year contracts, which we do bring sometimes to this committee, like horse shows that we have
Mhm.
multiple years coming in. Even I think our gun show might be on a 3-year contract. Those do take approval by the board because they're multiple years. That's just based on county code. So at this
But if something
point,
goes really wrong and does not work out, we're not committed 4 years down the road to bring
we
it
don't
back
have
in
a,
again.
no, it is not a multi-year contract.
Yeah, we've
It is a
taken out,
1-year contract.
we've taken out most of the language
True.
around, in a typical contract, they have like 30 days to rebook for next year.
Okay.
We either heavily amended that or took it out completely. I
I think
can't
we took it
remember. I can't remember exactly.
We can always
Um,
renegotiate it again.
But our intention, I think the language is basically, we have to, we'll use these terms, but we will, give us notice and we'll start booking days.
Okay.
But there is no guarantee. I think, in the standard contract, it's a section on first right of refusal.
Mhm.
We have taken that language out for sure. I can't remember off the top of my head if we have a process for them to request a date in the future.
And remember too, if this passes the county board, the item number 5 from earlier, it would take another city permit. It would take approval from the county executive again,
Okay.
and some of those types of things. They'd have to go through the process again. So if the city said, oh, this didn't work out.
Oh, yeah.
Neighbors or whatever, it doesn't work out. In theory, the city could also just not approve a permit for fireworks.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And for the city, it goes by, if somebody else gets a special event permit before they do, they only have so many police officers. So sometimes you can't get 2 special events permits in one weekend. If they want that weekend, they just say no. There was a motorcycle show that wanted to come here, but there was another special events for the city. They wouldn't grant them a permit. Because they only have so many police officers and they have to keep some on the street. So it's like, you have to basically get that permit before the city will let you
So
move forward.
any more discussion on item number 7? You're none, okay. Item number 8, next meeting date, December 27th, 2022 at 3:30 PM. All right, everyone?
Yep.
Okay. Future agenda items. Anyone?
Well, yeah, at the last meeting, oh, I'm sorry, you had one?
Wait,
You was first.
Josh, Adam, you have some first?
Oh, I was just gonna list off some of those. So the camping might be on there, especially depending on discussions with PGI, if we do need that. Or for instance, for right away in January, then we will probably want to get there on that on the December agenda. And then one other thing I just wanted to mention, it's not necessarily our agenda, but future agenda, which is ARPA. For tomorrow, this is just an FYI, because I just got this actually this morning, so I just learned of it today. Is we have our the bowl launch pay stations is on the ARPA committee agenda for tomorrow for consideration, I believe, to then recommend to the county board. So just so you're aware, 120,000 is on there as to get automatic pay stations at all 7 boat landings. And I will be at that meeting, obviously, to answer any questions and present on that project to the
Yes.
ARPA committee at 1 PM tomorrow.
Since you brought up, are we gonna bring up the phase 2 or 3 of the Sunnyview project?
So,
Yes, no,
Actually, on the next agenda in December, I just actually talked to, once again, my county executive actually today on this one too, and to, Administrator Collard. That, I'll probably actually have our capital improvement, project for next year, which I don't know if you remember from. Just, I think the October meeting, we went through CIP, was the Waukah Dam, engineering for next year. In December, as of right now, we have the expo in the capital improvement plan. I haven't seen any finished improvement plan, keep that in mind, but when we talked, my recommendation in October. That we talked about was the, that would be 2024 for engineering for the expo with 2025 for phase 2.
Karen, you want to say? Something?
Yeah, I was just gonna, I know that the last meeting, we talked about how would we schedule our meetings going forward? And the reason we're meeting on the 27th at 3:30 is because someone said, okay, well, we're gonna move our meetings to 9 o'clock. I said, I've already got a dental appointment, because the Tuesdays is the one day that I have to book dental and medical appointments. And how did we come up with the idea of 9 o'clock rather than sticking at 2:30? Because we've been doing 3:30 all along, right? And then we changed it to Tuesday and went to 9. How'd that
Okay,
go?
I'll say since discussion,
Yeah.
I just wish you met earlier, and that's what I threw out to the 4 of you.
Oh, okay, that's why we're doing it, okay.
But that's only now during the non-golfing season, correct?
Oh, it's changing after golf.
Well, I golf on.
We agreed on that one
So I
last.
can't, I can meet any other day, I can meet Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, any time of the day. I can't meet on Thursdays in the afternoon or Tuesdays in the afternoon.
Okay.
So I have
So
Mondays,
that's-
Wednesdays, and
Okay,
Fridays.
so that's why we're doing the Tuesday, that's why we went
I
to
like
the
Tuesday
morning.
mornings, any morning, because that leaves the
Okay.
whole day to do what I wanna do. You know, if in the afternoon, let's say I get into a yard project, or I got rental houses I'm working on, I have to go home, take a shower, and then.
That answers my question. I wasn't sure how we got to,
So it was only
9 instead of
temporary.
3:30.
So Karen,
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
I'm gonna reiterate what I said last meeting.
What'd you do?
Come April, May, these 3 guys have to start working things out. I think me and you are the most flexible ones, so I'm flexible, but they're gonna have to work out a time and.
Okay.
you
You're the
know,
chairman, you can't push it on us.
Well, I'm just saying it's up to you.
He's a
kids.
pushy chairman.
No,
Okay, no,
Okay.
mind.
Wait till after me. Okay,
So this is only running until April or so, and then we're gonna rework our schedule.
5 of us have to do these, but especially these 3 will have to
Yeah.
come to consensus, okay?
Okay,
I got one thing to then.
Go ahead.
I guess next month I'd like to discuss, I think we should do the Expo Center in 23 and try to get ARPA funds for it. That's falls strictly under the clean water. It needs a retention pond, because when we have events there, the vehicles are leaking oil and gas, and when it rains, all that water washes that stuff right into the ditch, right into the lakes. There's no way in today you could build a parking lot like that without having a retention pond. And, you know, when we did the gravel parking lot, we had to put 2 retention ponds in. So I think we need to do that as soon as possible. I mean, Land and Water is asking for $3.5 million for clean water. And here we got a big parking lot that basically we're letting all that oil and gas and debris run right into the waterways, and wondering why we have such poor quality in our.
well, not just the oil and gas, but animal runoff, when we have the fair with the horses and the cows and the, the various large animals, there's runoff from them as well, I would think. Things to be considered.
And the ARPA, just so you're aware, the ARPA submittals that I submitted are the boat landing rental fees, the Waukah Dam and the expo. So all that was submitted. I
So
did
excellent,
submit that.
thinking about about water retention,
Yep,
okay,
phase 2 or the West Campus improvements
Okay.
that was submitted to the county executive and to I believe the ARPA committee then too.
okay.
So I did submit from a department standpoint, I did submit that, just so you're
So I know the county exec last month mentioned that he was in support of the Expo project. So I believe he wants to move it forward. And if that don't fall under the ARPA criteria, under the Clean Water Act, I don't know what does. So, I mean, the Waukah Dam does too. So, I mean, both of those projects should probably move forward, because either we're gonna bond for them, or we're gonna pay for them out of there, but either way, they're gonna be done.
Yeah,
And maybe going to the ARPA committee would be good tomorrow. I mean, I know, honestly, I haven't been as involved in it. But I do know percentages from what I understand.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
percentage has been some for internal, percentages for external and percent.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
maybe asking the committee on some of those questions. Obviously, it's gonna make it back to the county board no matter what. I know all approvals have to go to county board, but that's what at this point I did submit, just so you're aware. The expo was submitted by me.
Okay. Here, entertain a motion to adjourn,
so move, sir.
moved by Karen Powers, second by,
We want to stay here all night. Second, okay?
Josh, we pick here.
Yeah, no, I
All in
like-
favor, by saying aye?
Bye.
Opposed? You're adjourned.
I like to make them sweat.